Ever get the feeling that, like, a place has its own energy, almost like a personality?
Yeah.
That's Duma Key in a nutshell, at least in this book. For Edgar Freemantle, it's like I don't know, a crucible. It forces him to confront his deepest fears and, hidden potential. So today we're diving into his story. Trauma, creativity, all against this mysterious island backdrop.
Yeah, it's a really cool mix. You have these, like, ordinary human struggles.
Yeah.
Yep. Grief, loss, the whole recovery thing.
Right.
And then the King throws in these extraordinary, increasingly supernatural elements of the island itself. It's like even in the most realistic settings, there's always room for the fantastical.
Definitely makes you think about the places that shaped your own life, right? Have you ever felt that kind of pull to a certain spot?
Yeah, for sure.
So Edgar starts as a successful guy, owns a construction company, the whole 9 yards, but then, bam, this horrific accident just changes everything.
Wow.
Divorced, loss of an arm, phantom limb pain, memory issues. It's like a bomb went off in his life, shattered everything.
And from that wreckage, something new emerges. That's what leads him to Duma Key, Florida. It's not just physical recovery, it's emotional too.
Makes sense. New place, new start, all that.
Exactly. And his art, it's not just a hobby. It's how he grapples with the phantom pain, the lost memories, even that emotional void from the divorce. Each brushstroke is like a step towards healing.
So the island awakens something in him, like brings out this hidden talent.
It seems that way. This passion for art, something he abandoned years ago, becomes his lifeline. But as he gets deeper into it, Duma Key starts revealing its true nature. Beautiful, but with this unsettling energy.
There's always a catch, right?
Right. And it's interesting, the accident's a catalyst, sure. But the issues in his marriage, they were already there. The book hints at conflict, resentment, like he felt choked by the relationship.
Even though he can't fully remember.
Yeah, the memory gaps add another layer to it. It's like maybe moving to Duma Key was also about escape, running from a past he can't quite face.
Then you've got his daughters, Melinda, the pragmatic one, and Ilse, who he calls tender. It's like he's reaching out for their support, rebuilding those connections while rebuilding his life on this weird island.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Reminds us that even amidst all the chaos, family can be a lifeline. But there's this undercurrent of unease, too, almost a sense of foreboding during their visit.
Foreboding? Like how?
Remember that incident with the neighbor's dog, Gandalf?
Oh, yeah.
Edgar tries to help, but the dog dies suddenly, almost violently.
Ugh, yeah, I remember that. Pretty disturbing.
It's subtle, but it foreshadows these darker elements that'll emerge on Duma Key, like a hint of what's to come.
The island showing its teeth a little.
Exactly. Beauty and destruction all wrapped up in one.
And what about Edgar's struggles with hunger? It's not just physical, right? Almost primal, like he's craving something more than food. That ties into the idea of something on the island feeding on him, using him.
Ooh, that's an interesting thought. King definitely plays with this idea of a parasitic force, adding to the suspense. You see it in the flashbacks to his accident, especially the image of his hand, described as this hungry gift.
Hungry gift.
Yeah, it's unsettling, like something is taking root in him, growing stronger as he creates.
And this whole thing about Edgar being drawn into the drowned girl's world, it's captivating, but also creepy, blurs the lines between creation and obsession. His art starts revealing these unsettling truths about Duma Key's past. Is he really in control, or is something else pulling the strings?
That ambiguity is what makes it so fascinating. Is this gift a blessing or a curse? Is it truly his, or something imposed on him? That tension between creation and possession adds so much depth to his journey, keeps you guessing about the true source of his inspiration.
Like, where does Edgar end and the island begin?
Exactly. Yeah, it really does blur those lines. And as Edgar's settling into this new life, his art starts to, attract attention. He even emails a picture to his therapist, Dr. Kamen.
Oh, yeah, Cam.
And Kamen's blown away. He compares Edgar's work to, get this, Salvador Dali.
Wow, that's high praise.
Right. It's like Edgar's tapped into something, well, extraordinary, something beyond just like conventional art.
And Kamen being a therapist, he sees the therapeutic value in it, right?
Exactly. He encourages Edgar to, fully embrace this talent, to mine it for all it's worth.
Mine it. Interesting way to put it.
It's almost as if he's channeling all that trauma, those memories, onto the canvas. He even buys a book of Dali's work.
So he's studying the masters.
Yeah, but he admits not all of it resonates with him. It's like he's developing his own voice, not just imitating,
Finding his own style. And then his daughters come to visit for Christmas.
Oh, right.
This beautiful moment of reconnection. He gets to share this newfound passion with his family.
It changes the whole dynamic. He's not isolated anymore. He's sharing his experiences, which also raises the stakes emotionally, but maybe in terms of danger too.
Yeah, good point. He starts painting his daughters, capturing their, essence in his art. But even with this heartwarming reunion, there's those hints of unease. Like when Ilse freaks out over the tide crashing at night.
Foreshadowing.
Totally.
Remember, the island seems to have its own consciousness. It's like it's watching them, reacting, and maybe not entirely happy about their presence.
Spooky.
Then there's that encounter with Elizabeth Eastlake, the old woman on the beach.
Oh, Elizabeth, she's a trip. Sitting there in her wheelchair, bright blue sneakers, cigarette dangling from her lips.
Like something out of a dream.
Totally. And she seems to recognize something in Edgar, something that really unsettles him.
This encounter is huge. It introduces Elizabeth, who becomes, essential to the whole story.
She's connected to the island in a big way.
Yeah, and her relationship with Edgar gets more and more complex as we go on.
And that message she leaves on his answering machine about Duma Key not being lucky for children. So creepy.
Chilling, right. Like a warning, but so vague. Just adds to that feeling that, something's not right. Secrets waiting to be uncovered.
Edgar's dreams, too, they get so vivid, like bleeding into his waking life. These recurring images, especially this mysterious boat that keeps showing up in his art.
The power of the subconscious. It's like there's a deeper story unfolding, and Edgar's only catching glimpses of it through his art and these increasingly weird experiences.
And he meets Wireman, Elizabeth's caretaker.
Wireman. Such a great character.
He becomes Edgar's close friend, confidant, former lawyer, insightful, a bit jaded, and funny.
Yeah, that dry humor. He's a perfect sounding board for Edgar's theories about the island.
They try to make sense of it all together.
Two very different perspectives colliding. Edgar, the artist, driven by intuition, emotion, and Wireman, the lawyer, all logic and reason.
A good balance.
Absolutely.
And Edgar's art, it takes off. He has this breakthrough capturing the island's light, its energy, in this way that's both beautiful and unsettling.
It's the culmination of his journey so far. He's found his voice, his style, and he's tapping into something powerful.
It resonates, People feel it.
Yeah, for sure. Wireman even takes some of the paintings to a gallery.
And then
The response is amazing. Edgar gets a show.
Wow. Success. But there's that but, right?
Of course. As his success grows, so does this feeling that something's off. Like the island's demanding more from him. It's the classic artist's bargain.
You give a little, you get a little, but it's never that simple.
Exactly. And then, boom, the revelation about Elizabeth's past.
She was an artist, too.
Right. But a tragic accident left her with amnesia and other issues. And Wireman finds a sketch signed by, you guessed it, Salvador Dali.
No way. The same artist Edgar was compared to.
It can't be a coincidence. It's clear now that Elizabeth's story is tied to Edgar somehow.
Like fate or something.
It's like Edgar's not just rediscovering his own talent. He's connected to Elizabeth's legacy, to this power she tapped into years ago. But can he control it? Or will it consume him like it seems to have consumed her?
Makes you think about, the weight of these legacies. Like Edgar's carrying the torch, but also facing that same darkness. And it feels like the deeper he goes, the more he becomes this conduit for the island's energy. And that's when things get really dangerous. The dreams get more intense. The visions start bleeding into his everyday life.
It's like he opened a door and now he can't close it. The island's just pouring in.
Ooh.
And the creative process, it's a double-edged sword, right? Healing and expression on one side, but exposure to these dark forces on the other.
Yeah.
And those warnings from Elizabeth.
Yeah.
About children not being safe on Duma Key.
Oh, man.
It takes on a whole new meaning when we learn about her twin daughters drowning all those years ago.
It's tragic. Adds another layer to Elizabeth's story, but it also underscores how powerful Duma Key really is. It gives, but it takes away, too. Leaves this trail of sorrow, of loss. And Edgar gets fixated on the truth behind those drownings. Like, he needs to understand, to confront whatever's responsible.
He's taking on her burden almost.
Yeah.
That need for justice, even though he wasn't there.
It's like he's absorbing the island's pain, right? Along with his own. And his art starts to reflect that shift. Focus on the drowned girls, seeing them in his visions.
King's so good at blurring that line,
Yeah.
Reality, imagination.
Yeah.
Edgar's art becomes his way of talking to the dead, accessing this hidden world.
But there's a cost. And then there's Purse.
Right, Elizabeth's so-called spirit guide.
this malevolent thing attached to Edgar. Is it separate from Elizabeth or part of her pain? King never really says, which makes it even creepier. But now it's using his art, twisting it for its own purpose. And when Wireman gets sick, well, it's clear Perce isn't playing around anymore. It's a threat to everyone Edgar cares about.
The stakes get so much higher. It's not just Edgar's inner demons now. Someone he loves is in real danger. And it shows just how risky this whole art thing can be. But Edgar, he doesn't give up. He's determined to protect his friend.
Putting the pieces together, the visions, the island's whispers, and he realizes Perce is connected to that ship in his dreams.
The ship. More than just an image, it's a symbol, right, of Duma Key's darkness, carrying this evil that's haunted the island for so long.
And Edgar, he doesn't back down. He takes on Perce in this final, terrifying battle, using his art as a weapon. That scene where he's painting like crazy, that missing hand aching like it's still there, guiding the brushstrokes. It's intense. He's not just being controlled anymore. He's fighting back, pouring all that fear and anger into his art.
So powerful. Art as a weapon, but also a source of strength. Edgar's victory shows how resilient he is, but he's definitely changed by the experience. The island leaves its mark.
He leaves Duma Key, but it's like a part of him stays there, you know? Scarred, but also stronger. And the ending, it's hopeful, but also kind of unsettling. Like some mysteries just can't be solved. Some wounds never fully heal.
He finds a way to cope, to move forward, but that shadow of Duma Key, of Perce, it's still there. And that's what makes this story so gripping. It asks these big questions about creativity, memory, the influence of places. It's a reminder that even in the darkest times, we can find ways to heal, to create, to keep going.
Edgar's journey might make you think about those places that have shaped you too. Have you ever felt that pull to a certain spot, sensed some hidden energy lurking beneath the surface? What stories do the places you've lived in tell? What hidden forces are shaping your path? Those are questions worth exploring, both out in the world and within ourselves. And hey, maybe you'll find yourself drawn to Duma Key, wanting to uncover its secrets. Just be careful out there. You never know what might be hiding just out of sight.